welcome to the Author's Corner, and I'm excited to bring to you a brand new author, and her book will really have you thinking. I'll tell you, it's author Kenite McCrae, right?
Yes,
I got it
that
right.
is it.
Kenite McCrae.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Excited about that. You're welcome. So the book is called I Am a Christian, and This Is Why.
Yes.
I love that title because what it really does, it breaks down the whole ideology of Christianity, but from your perspective. Like it's not like you just kind of threw it out in the sky, but you did some major research.
I did.
Let's talk about the beginning
Okay.
and the process. Tell us how long it took for you to write this book first off.
Well, to write the book, it took about 5 years.
Okay.
Because I believe the Holy Spirit initially gave me the vision to write the book about 5 years ago. I
Got
kept
it.
hearing in my head, I am a Christian, this is why. I am a Christian, this is why.
Okay.
And then over some time, I started penning parts of the book and penning. And then ultimately this year, when I went to Africa, I had the opportunity to take a trip to Africa. I came back so inspired that I finally finished the book.
Wow.
But going back many years ago, the research started, good 20 years ago.
Wow.
When I went on a journey myself to figure out what I believe and why, because I didn't grow up as a Christian.
Now, I'm going to tell you what I love about her book is that she said she didn't grow up as a Christian, so she wanted to figure out herself, what religion or what should I believe? And she took a self-made journey that led her into becoming a Christian. Talk about that.
Okay. So as you said, Cheryl, I didn't grow up in a church. I didn't grow up as a Christian. In fact, the community that I lived in wasn't even predominantly Christian. Most of the kids that I did know that had a religion, they were either Jehovah's Witnesses or Nation of Islam.
Wow.
So my natural personality in the world was such that I couldn't just attach myself to something because that's what the norm is or that's what the community does. I was kind of radical like that.
Got it.
It's funny how God uses your natural personality even in the kingdom when you come over. So that's a blessing. But at any rate, because I couldn't just connect based on this being the dominant culture where I lived, I set out on my own journey. And as I had kind of told you before, that journey took me to spend a lot of hours in the library. Before there was Google, no keyword searches. You had to pull out the card catalog and study and research and find books and pull them off the shelf and all
That's a
of
blast
that.
of the past, cart catalogs, right? But
Yeah, and so I, along with that research, I sat down with a lot of leaders and practitioners of other religions, just listening to them and talking to them and digging into why they believe what they believe, what do they practice, how do they feel, what is the evidence. And along that journey, I also talked to some Christians and started visiting some churches. And one of the things that bothered me during that journey is that whenever I would talk to Christians, they could tell me what they believe, but they couldn't articulate why they believe.
wow.
Oftentimes it was an emotional response.
That right there is big. That is so big. But go ahead. I digress. No, it's big because where you think you want to learn or where you think you should learn about Christianity is in the church.
Yes.
And for so many people, trying to figure it out is an emotional response because it's a personal testimony. But you found some hard evidence as to why you decided to say yes. So go
But
ahead.
I'm glad you said that because as a Christian, one of the things that we understand as Christians is that it's not a religion, it's about a relationship. And whenever there's a relationship, there are feelings and emotions.
Absolutely.
But as God is balanced in all of his attributes, so ought we to be balanced. And so we have to balance the feelings and emotional part, which is what's relational, with intellect, knowledge, and wisdom.
Yeah.
So God talks about the heart and the mind. And whenever we operate in a capacity where we're out of balance with our mental versus our emotional, we find that could be a catastrophe. So why not apply that to what we believe? We should be balanced in the ability to express what we believe, why we believe it in an intelligent and an emotional way.
Right, especially in this generation because you're being challenged on every end to say that this is the white man's religion or this is, my grandmother's religion or you're brainwashed into it or it's political or for whatever the ideology might be. So talk about the journey and that turning point for you when you decided, this is the one for me.
So as I started, like I said, through research, historical, archaeology, through the research, through sitting and talking with people and finding that Christianity was logical. It made sense. There was enough reasonable evidence. Now, I didn't say all my possible doubt was removed, but all my reasonable doubt was removed. And that's the big difference, because I think a lot of people is looking for Christianity and the answers to remove all possible doubt, but we don't even apply that in a court of law.
Right.
So what is normal, what is practical, and what is acceptable is to remove reasonable doubt. And there is enough history, there's enough evidence, there's enough archaeology discovery, there is enough comparison of manuscript copies to validate the accurate transmission of the Bibles, to validate whether the copies we have today is what was originally written, and whether what is written is the truth versus myth or lies. There's enough of that evidence to allow us to intelligently say that this is the truth.
Wow. You know, I think back in our grandparents' and grandmothers' religion, a lot of our grandparents didn't have education, but they knew. And so now that we're of the age of where we can literally dig and get the facts. And one of the things about this book is that it takes the guesswork out, because you list all of this stuff. So if you're ever trying to figure out why you said yes, or what Christianity really is, the book is right there. She did the work for you.
I did, and not only myself, there are a lot of scholars and apologists who went before me who did the work and helped me to glean from them. But the book does answer
it's
some
practical,
critical.
though. Yeah,
it is.
because when you're talking about studying, even going to seminary and that kind of thing, you got to dig deep into that stuff. Every believer hasn't had the opportunity to do that.
Yes.
So yeah, you made it very practical.
Yeah, and plain. So one of my goals with the book is to bring it down, make it simple. I use a lot of examples because I believe people can connect when they can identify.
That's good.
So I didn't want it to be all theological. I didn't want it to be so deep,
Right.
so intellectual
Because
that
it can be.
the average person don't even know what I'm talking about. So it's very simple. I pride myself that it's a short read. So it's to ignite critical thinking, but make you say, oh, now I want to learn more. Oh, now I have some practical answers. Now I know how to answer the woke community, or the conscious person.
There you go.
Or the college professor.
Who's
telling me that what I believe is all feelings and myth. The book doesn't, you don't have to read 10, 20 chapters before you get to a few general answers. It gets straight to the point right in the beginning.
Like off the bat.
Off the bat.
You talk about how can you believe in a God you can't see. Like that was one of the first things, you know, as a non-believer, that you were like, he's not there. Like I could see Buddha, like they have the Buddha statue, and they have, you know, Muhammad, and then it's the next, you know, now it's Elijah Muhammad, now it's, you know, so you can see those people.
Evolved.
They've evolved. So now you can see those, but then how do you believe in a God you can't see? And you broke that thing down, because you said, I love this, because I did get a chance to get through that portion of it where you said there are some things that we believe in that we don't see, like oxygen. Ma'am. That was really good. You were like air, like certain things that we just don't see, but we believe it's there. We know it's there,
Without
and we're able
a shadow of a doubt.
And we're able to put elements on it. We're able to do this with it. And so why can't we do that with an all-powerful God? Ooh.
I think the general rule of thought is if I can't fully comprehend it, I can't believe it. But just because you cannot fully comprehend something does not mean you can't fully apprehend something.
Yeah.
Which is two different things.
Girl. Man. So now the book is out and you're done. You're ready to get this thing in stores and get this thing. But what I really see this as being like studies across the world, like, you know what I mean? Like Bible study classes, because this is so, I mean, it's practical. It's not really going through the concordance that we don't really understand, and how to put this note with that note. And
the Hebrew verse Greek lexicon.
Yeah. That thing is powerful. I'm glad God is using you.
Thank you. I appreciate
for this. So tell us when everything is coming out.
It will be available the second week in December, 2018. Available on Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million, and some other local bookstores. I also have a goal to get it in church bookstores as well, and on my website.
So, you know, I said that I see this as, you know, Bible study teaching and this across. What was your desire? What is your desire? Who should pick this book up? Like, what is it that God is saying? Who are the people that God is saying this should have this book?
It's threefold, Cheryl.
Okay.
First, for the Christian who knows what they believe, but is not confident articulating why they believe it. Have a desire to witness, to evangelize, but don't have the confidence to converse with the woke community, converse with the conscious community, converse with the intelligent
The
community.
educator, yeah.
Exactly. So it's first for that audience. It's secondly for that audience who's skeptical like I was.
Got it.
Who's on the fence about what they believe, but just haven't heard an intelligent or logical or just plain example or any evidence for why Christianity is the truth.
Got it.
And then third, and certainly not least, for others who are practicing another religion. Because I believe this is the truth, I'm praying that God would use this book to open the eyes of some others who I believe is practicing a false religion.
Got it.
It's interesting that, most people in false religions know the lie better than most Christians know the truth.
Ooh, ain't that the truth? So I'm excited about that. Kenite McCrae
Yes.
is her name. Kenite McCrae is her name. Make sure you look for her book. Make sure you check out all things I am a Christian and this is why. It will bless your life. It's our Author's Corner on Praise.